Well, first
Take it away.
I appreciate that, Mike. I want to say thank you for allowing me to tag along on your podcast. Guys out there, if you haven't checked out Mike Murphy's podcast, it's Pipe and Tamper, and you need to make sure that you get on your favorite venue to download podcasts and just type in Pipe and Tamper, and you'll get an opportunity to listen to all these episodes that they create as well. Well, today, guys, we have with us a wonderful pipe carver from the beautiful country of Canada, eh? Hey, yeah, and we've got Nate Rose of Rose Pipes. Nate, thanks for coming on the show with us. We really do appreciate it.
Well, thanks for asking me to be on the show.
Yeah, so my interest in how you've developed into a pipe carver, I'd like to kind of go back a little bit and maybe talk about how you got into pipe smoking. How was it that you became introduced to the pipe?
I've been smoking like cigars or cigarillos since I was about 14 years old, and just, oh yeah.
Is there not a law in Canada?
There is.
He's a trailer park worker.
You know it, eh? One of my buddies who is 16, is 6'5", 300 pounds, like just a big linebacker, and he would just go get cigarillos and share them with the boys over the weekend when his parents would go away to Cuba, and did that for a lot of years. And then when I was of age to legally buy tobacco, I got into cigars, and then would always grab a nice stick to go golfing. And one time I went to the cigar shop and I saw the wall of pipes, and I thought, oh, no, that'd be kind of funny. Don't tell anybody, grab one, and just never look back.
Okay, so, and how old were you think, about then?
I was probably about 23.
Okay, and so what was it that about pipe smoking that kind of drew you into it?
Well, originally it was the different flavors involved that came with smoking aromatics, I would say. Like when I first had it, it was a house blend, but it was most likely just 1Q.
Yeah.
And then it was, I wanted to get a nicer pipe, and I wasn't going to spend $40 on a basket pipe. I thought that was wild. And then I started to see the beauty in pipes, and just, I had a little bit of a wood background, but I was quite, I did a lot of machine shop in high school, and so I, started to see guys were using lathes, and I was like, oh, I can maybe do that. So it just kind of spun from there, and here we are.
Yeah. So, how long have you been carving right now?
I've been selling my pipes since 2017, but I carved for probably about a year and a half before that.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you've got a good 8 to 9 years of experience. Who was it that kind of helped you along the way?
It was a carver. One of the first carvers I ever followed was Ryan Brannigan. I think he's in Virginia. And I just talked his ear off, and he answered all the questions I had. It was super helpful, and even sent me at Christmas time a package of pre-made stems and stuff. Uh-huh. And anything I had to ask, he would help. And yeah.
So, were you also associated with another Canadian, Michael Parks?
Yeah, I think I've been carving. It was right before, I think the pandemic had just hit. And there was I got very lucky. There was a collaborative project they wanted to do with Pipes of Smoke in Canada. And they wanted Michael to work on the pipes. And Michael was, they wanted to find another carver, and they wanted to find someone that they could kind of mold, and, that wasn't too far along, but kind of understood the discipline, but needed a little bit of help and stuff. And Michael called me one day, and that's how it started. And I went to a shop, probably like every few months for quite a while, and we're not doing the project anymore, but we've become really good friends, so cool. It's good.
What was the biggest takeaway for you spending time in the shop?
Like what aspect of the pipe, do you think?
I don't know, was it a friendship, or was it...
I did not expect that.
Yeah, was it the process that you Or was it both?
You know, it's funny, like when I really got into pipes and stuff, and like I've told Michael this, like when I really got into pipes and stuff, you kind of, you know, you develop your North Stars, your idolized people. You're like, you try to emulate it and you want to follow. And Michael truly was like, and still is like my number one. And so to have him call me or go for lunch or let's go to the show together, like it's a wild ride. So that's
So it sounds like maybe a French, an unexpected friendship.
very much. And I've even had people say like Michael is very like he's well respected in the community, but he very much is quiet. And so people are like, how did that happen? I'm like, naturally happened. And
Have you taken anything away from that?
I think your blasts are probably have developed and grown
It greatly improved.
from his study with him.
I remember all I did was rusticating originally,
I
right?
remember that, yes.
And I remember when I announced I was working with Michael Parks, this podcast named Pipe and Tamper messaged me and said, you gotta be blasting soon. And very quickly I bought all the stuff and then tried my hand at it for a couple months. And I think I went to Michael's shop one time, and immediately when I posted the first pipe I blasted, people said, you look like you've had a lesson now. And it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't amazing, but like you could see the difference, right? So like I've spent a lot of time with him trying to understand the blasting and have the respect for it.
What do you find more tedious? Rusticating or sandblasting?
I rusticated a pipe for Chicago, and it was the first pipe I rusticated in 2 or 3 years, and I hated every moment of it. I'm like, how did I used to do this?
So the process sounds like it's a little, not only more rewarding, but a little easier. And is that a process in which you're continuously learning from
Yes.
pipe to pipe?
Every pipe is different, and every pipe you have to make an adjustment. Like,
Because of the wood and how
Yeah,
the
like-
grain flows.
yeah, and like I'll have, you know, other pipe makers, like even like Stephen Cashwell. I've talked to him a little bit about blasting, and Jason Patrick, and they'll be like, you know, how does this work and stuff? And I'm like, every piece is different, and almost every single piece I have to change how I'm doing it, and then it's also like it clicks, and it's just you're like, oh, figured it out, and then the rest of it is not smooth sailing, but you keep having to change things. Like you always have a starting point that you think is going to work, and the wood will surprise you, right?
When you started with working with him, had your drilling, both the tobacco chamber and the drill, were you there already, or did he teach you new things about those processes?
No, not much of that. With that stuff, that I spent a lot of time before that, like before Michael. If I couldn't drill the chamber and the draft hole and the mortise and everything, there was no point in doing it.
Sure. So you were already at that point where the pipe
It was
smokes like it should smoke.
It was acceptable, yeah.
But maybe the pipe can work better.
Well, and a lot of it though, like, was the stem work. So, like, when I got with Michael, that was the reason he called me on was, you know, they needed somebody, a grunt, to do the stem work.
Sure.
So, like, you know, I was doing like 20 stems for them, like a year on top of my commissions I tried to keep on top of, and that was the one thing, like everybody says, like, you know, your stem work. I'm like, that's Parks' influence, man. Like, he's so picky, but like in a good way.
In a good way,
Like
yeah.
we used to joke.
It's worked for him.
Him and I used to joke that like he was the dentist and I was the dental hygienist. Like I would do all this stuff that he'd come in if there was needed to be adjusting. Like he would send me a sheet of paper with notes on it and be like, on this stem, you know, this stem, this stem, this.
So after working with Michael and all in that endeavor that you were doing, then I guess you kind of hit your own space in the pipe world. And what I love about you is your Instagram live. Can you tell me a little bit about how that started? And because guys, if you haven't checked him out, get on Instagram and first of all, make sure that you friend him. But you get on Instagram and it shows at the top whether he's doing a live broadcast or not, and then you can click that, and you're actually watching him work in his shop, fashioning pipes and stems and things like that. So there's nothing to hide. I mean, he's really open about his work. So anyway, if you could tell a little bit about how that started.
That all started because I was working on a commission for a fairly good collector of mine, and he just asked like for some photos and videos along the way, which I normally send anyway. And I just thought one day I was like, I'll just go live and he could watch me make his specific pipe. And then it just started to tailspin, and I had more and more guys checking it out and stuff. And then it just kind of became like a thing where I had like 10 or 15 guys every day while they were working at their desks watching me and stuff and talking. So I don't do it nearly as much as I was because it's just easier to unplug and just grind down and go. But once a week, every once in a while, I'll go on and want to say hi to the guys.
I imagine it could be pretty tedious having 7 to 10 to 12 people watching over your shoulder.
Yeah, like it is, but it's good. It's good to check in with the people too, right? Like you kind of develop like a little community that way, and I really got to know a lot of the guys personally, like Tom. So
I started watching your live really heavily in April, right after the Chicago show, and that's actually how I found this pipe. The pipe you made for me was that the Stummel on this was something that he had not finished and was not real happy with.
No.
And then all of a sudden, is this the first bamboo stem you did?
No, I've done bamboo for a while, but I just wanted to try something.
Well, we added the bamboo to it. He blasted the bamboo, which is, I think, it should be your signature. Yeah, because that is so cool.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, a couple guys have seen. They're like, "Is that blasted?" I'm like, "Oh yeah," and they're like, "I haven't seen that before." And I was like, like I know like bullfrog pipes. Like that's where I got the idea from originally, and I like it. I think it really texturizes it, makes it look.
It's really neat.
Well, with a blasted bowl, that is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very linear. It just flows with the shape of the pipe and everything. But the cool thing about this pipe was you weren't even going to do much with it, and all of a sudden it became one of your high grades.
It's I don't remember when I cut that pipe, and I don't remember what it was. I think I was trying to do. I wanted to try to have a pipe available once in a while on the site, just to kind of. Some guys just like to buy that stuff, and I was like, oh, I don't remember when I made this, and I was like, oh, let's see what the grain looks like, and I bet you I made that 5.
I noticed it has nodes on it. What are the nodes made of?
Briar, and they're blasted.
Yeah, everything about it is blasted, and it's just, and the grain. You finding that grain 360 degrees. I mean, and it's
got to be pretty tedious to do. Maybe on the other hand, rewarding after you do it.
I really wanted to keep it because it's such a nice piece, but I was like, I can't.
We see a lot of different nodes, and it's not the first time I've used it.
I had that idea. I was like, because I know people have done it, but I'm like, I haven't seen one in a while. And I was like, if I have, I don't think anybody's ever blasted them.
I've never seen one in person until Tom showed me his pipe. It's super cool.
Yeah. So I wanted it to be like an all-encompassing blast piece.
Yeah.
So, but
you succeeded because the whole pipe is blasted, with the exception of the stem.
Yeah.
Can you talk?
Have you thought about doing that? Maybe giving the stem some texture?
No.
Because Brian Orton does that.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you spoke his pipes or not, but they have a very unique, comfortable feel to the stem, even though they're rusty.
Yeah.
I know we should maybe a limit that or a place that you don't want to go.
I think to me it's like for myself, I've seen Orton's pipes and they're gorgeous. Like totally different than what I would ever do. And I like that. Because I like that everybody kind of has their own thing. And for me, like I try to say as classy as I possibly can. And for me, like I like a smooth, clean,
A more classic
Yes.
style of stem.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
What I love about this pipe is the fact that it is kind of a classical shape, but it has so much modern texture to it.
Yes.
And it's just a wonderful pipe. Now, tell us a little bit about your grading system, because I know this is a silver dot, which is your highest level.
Yep.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit how you
Yeah.
go through that?
No, I do a grade system from 1 to 5, and for me, like I don't do a lot of smooths only because I find I'm so picky. It has to be not a single flaw, because for me at least, whenever I do have a smooth, a lot of guys are like, "Oh, I want a natural finish," and I'm like, for as a maker, and like I've talked to a lot of makers who agree, it's like all we'll see is that flaw.
So are you referring to drier or lower?
I'm getting there, Mike. I didn't know Jay was in the room. So
Let me get on my knees so I'm a little shorter.
oh yeah. So for me, what it is, it's the whole pipe. But for me, like what it really is the blast to me needs to be a certain level of exceptional to earn that grade. So like the silver grade is my highest grade. I've only made 4, but I came up with it at like. I don't want to keep referring to him, but I, talked with Michael quite a bit about having some sort of grading system and trying to, that's for you to decide and stuff. So like for the grade, it comes down to all the whole piece, how the work, everything needs to be just like, that is my best work.
So why silver? I mean, look, is it because you want really gold?
No.
Well, they're being gold.
No, so silver is because, with Michael, we did the common wheel and we did a silver dot on all the stems. That was their signature. So I had asked Mike and the curator of that project if I could use that as my highest grade to be like as an honor piece to that time with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm trying to find ways to like have like another one. So like I've been working on like grade 4 is like a brass dot. But then it's like, you run out of metal.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not going to get a gold.
So what about that would, silver dot is your 5th level.
The highest, yes.
Yes. How do you categorize from 1 to 4? I know what it takes to get a 5.
It all comes down, the easiest way to explain it for me is it's like, just how well the blast comes out. So some pipes, like if the grain is really tight and kind of light, not really there. Like I've had a couple guys say like, with the commission, they'll be like, I want a billiard and I just want it to look like, you blasted it. Well, to me, a nice little pepper, it's not what I want.
Right.
So that's grade 1, right? So just variance all the way up.
Just whatever the wood will give you.
Yeah, but then it all has to come together.
Yeah.
So
recently you've acquired some special blocks,
yes.
and those blocks came from JT Cook.
Yeah.
How many of those blocks did you get?
I believe there was 35 when I got the box. But yeah, I had a customer in Alaska who messaged me and said, "Hey, did you see these? They just dropped." Because there was no, to my knowledge, maybe I wasn't paying attention, there was no heads up it was coming. It was just like, boom, they're here. And, I immediately messaged Steve and was like, I have to have some. So I grabbed, I didn't look at the grain orientation. I didn't care. I was like, I just want one of them. JT Cook is the king of blasting. So, and being a blast kid, give me a break.
Yeah. So how many have you used so far?
I think 4. Some guy, when I posted about it, like this was the pipe I had. This was the first pipe I made that was a Cook block. And I kept it for myself just as an honor piece. And
The rings are incredible on that.
yeah, it's a nice piece. Being as I knew I was going to keep it, I knew if I just wanted to hammer the walls and I ruined it, it was mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I put the post up and I posted this pipe, I had 4 or 5 guys message me, including Tom.
Yeah.
And we're like, I want one, not right now, but like mark me down. And I knew the guys and they're all good for it. And so I even had a couple guys say they wanted, an acrylic JT Cook inspired stem material. So I right away contacted Steve and I was like, all right, I need some acrylic. And he was like, you don't use acrylic. I'm like, I do now.
So what are your plans with these JT Cook blocks? I mean, are you going to use them just for commissions? Or are you going to try to make some to sell at shows? What?
I don't want to blow through them.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm just going to use them as they go. Like, I'm not going to say anything anymore. But like, if somebody says, like, are you the guy that has the cook blocks? I'll be like, yeah, but like a couple guys do. So, and yeah, like I had one pipe on my table, the saucer, that was the cook block. So, on occasion I'll do one, but like I think for shows I think I'll have one available just as like a, you know,
kind of a conversational.
honorary.
Yeah. I know that getting commissions now are becoming more difficult simply because of the time and care that you put into every single pipe you make. What's your commission list look like, and are you accepting commissions at this point?
Like how long is it?
Well, not necessarily how long, but I mean, are you still accepting commissions, or are you in a hiatus with that right now, or?
I'm not in a hiatus, but I'm definitely being a bit more, like at the time when I, like when I first really tried to get going, I took everything I could. Versus now, I'm being a lot more selective. So like, you know, like I've had people in the past be like, will you make me an egg? And I right away shoot them to my friend Jerry Nelson. I'm like, I don't do fucking eggs. Go to Jerry, that guy can do an egg. I'm being a bit more selective that way. And yeah, like I'm having a bit of a limit. Like I won't take overall too many. That way it doesn't become too much to bear. But then once it's clear, open up the books. So I'm trying, as you get older and spend more time in the hobby, you definitely start to learn.
Yeah, there's a process of
Yes.
learning what to do and what not to do.
You don't want your head to explode.
As a pipe carver, that's not all you do. You're not a full-time pipe carver. Well, right now you are, but soon.
Still struggling
It'll-
with the union.
Well, but I think you guys kind of settled that. haven't
Yeah, I was laid off for 2 years from General Motors, and I actually got the call on Wednesday to go back Tuesday. A couple people, including Tom, were like, "Are you still gonna go?" And I'm like, "I put too much time into the show. I'm not missing it." And like to come and see all the friends and stuff and the people I met, and like I wanted to meet Mike and like see Tom again. I wasn't gonna miss it, so I'm taking the red eye on Monday to go home. I'm flying out 5 a.m. But yeah, for like I think the next couple months, it's like I'm working 2 weeks and I'm off 2 weeks. So like I'll still do my 3 a.m.s when I'm working, and then when I'm off, I'll work like I normally would.
To view your work, what's the best way that folks can see your work?
Definitely Instagram. I'm most seen there. I post as much as I possibly can.
What's your handle on Instagram?
Rose Pipes Canada.
Rose Pipes Canada.
I like that you changed that.
Well, and commission's not the only way. You make a few pipes a week that are just available. Excuse me, that are available to the public.
I do my best. Like I definitely try, and sometimes they don't come out right when I want them. Even like that one, it's like I got to focus back on commissions. So especially with going back to work, we'll see how that goes and stuff. But I'll definitely be in the shop as much as I possibly can. Just like before, when people would mess me, like, "What are you doing up at 3 and up till 10? What are you doing?" And it's like,
You sleep?
oh, I love it, man.
Well, you're one of my favorite carvers, and I've said this before that I would wait forever to get one of your pipes. We want to make sure that folks get an opportunity to see your work, so get on Instagram, follow him, and look at his work. And if you see something interesting, message him. Nate, you're real good about talking with folks. We chat quite, at least
often.
a couple of times a week,
Yep.
and so Nate's real good about that. Now, be careful. There's a lot of Nates in this pipe industry. So Rose Pipes Canada is what you're looking for on the Instagram. Yeah, a very minimal deposit, and you're good to go.
Super.
Yeah, Nate, thank you very much. We've enjoyed having you on the show. And is there anything else you wanted to share with us?
No, just show's great.
How are you enjoying this show?
It's good. It's good. I'm really enjoying seeing everybody though. Like especially the people like I met in Chicago, or getting to meet people finally, like Mike. Like, you know, I've had a couple guys who came over and talked to me. Actually, Jim, what's his handle? Jim Backyard.
Jim Blankus.
He came over and saw my table and was talking to Ed, and then about 10 minutes later he goes, I didn't realize that you, it's Jim Backyard. I'm like, oh my God, and I like practically jumped on him. Or, you know, even getting to meet GLPs finally.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
yeah.
like I made him a couple pipes and he loved them. And I had a lot of fun when I got to meet him. I was talking to Brian and he came over and he was like, oh, great show, Brian, great show. Not enough people are smoking my tobacco though. And I said, you know, Mr. Peace, some of us can't get it. He's like, why can't you get my tobacco? And I'm like, well, up in Canada. He goes, are you Nate Rose? I'm like, yeah. So it's really good. It's really, you really, you know, being on the outside and not, you know, this is my first year. I'm really trying to come to the shows and be, you know, seen. You really, you know, I've seen the posts over the years of people being like, it's not about the pipe, it's the people. And it's like, you don't get it till you're here. And like very welcoming, like just unbelievable.
Well, again, thank you for coming on. Guys, if if you want to see his stuff, Rose Pipes Canada on Instagram. Check out all the pictures. If you see something that he's already sold, he can reproduce it. So make sure you reach out to him. Nate, thank you very much.
You guys are too kind.
Mike, thank you for letting us share your platform. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, make all your piping moments count. We'll see you next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.